What is up, guys? Troy here, and today is Wednesday, so that means it's time for another episode of Battlefield My Thoughts. Now, before we get to the topic at hand, I really wanted to discuss the gameplay. This is some of the attacking side on Rush, on Azadi Palace, and I've had quite a bit of snafu with this video. I actually uploaded this week's edition of Battlefield My Thoughts, and I went back to review it, and it turns out something went wrong in the editing and rendering process, and the video ended up looping. The video I put up on Battlefield, or on YouTube, excuse me, ended up looping the first 5 minutes of the gameplay for the entire 10 or 12 minute video. So I decided to delete that video and pretty much start from scratch. Now, for the last few weeks, I've been playing quite a bit of Aftermath, getting away from a lot of the base game. This has been probably my second favorite DLC in the entire game, of course behind the Back to Karkand, but that's pretty much in a different category. I really like the Aftermath maps. Talat Market's probably my favorite of all the maps, with Azadi Palace, which is this map, in a close second. But it's been quite frustrating, especially on the defensive side. My previous video that I put up on YouTube that I had to delete of Battlefield My Thoughts was the defensive side of Rush on Azadi Palace, and we just got steamrolled bad. This game is a little bit different. We have the upper hand, but I'm not going to spoil the ending for you, so I hope you stick around and watch it. But let's on to the topic at hand in Battlefield My Thoughts, and I wanted to talk about the assault class and the assault rifles. Now, I'm going to state up front, I'm not going to talk about the assault class in terms of med kits or defibs. I feel that those have been talked about quite a bit already by myself and other people. I really don't want to retread a topic that's been done before. So I mainly wanted to talk about the assault rifles. It's the main reason that I play the assault class as much as I do. I like the weapons more than anything. But I wanted to talk about how they could be tweaked in preparation for Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4 is coming up pretty quickly. I mean, October seems like it's quite a ways away, but it's going to come pretty fast. So I really wanted to talk about how we can tweak the assault rifles and see if there's any room for improvement in terms of how they're balanced. You know, as it stands right now, the assault rifles are basically balanced on a number of different stats, like reload times, rate of fire, recoil patterns, min-max spread, and damage models slightly. So I'd like to see if we could tweak any of those stats and maybe change certain things about the different statistics of the assault rifles. Would they be a better fit for Battlefield 4? And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because, yes, we all know that the M16 AEK M416 combination tends to be used quite a bit. It's very popular, and the main reason is rate of fire. But when I made the M16 My Thoughts, Battlefield My Thoughts video a number of months back, the main point I was trying to get across in that video is it's not really the M16's fault. It's really the fact that the other assault rifles in the assault class that are not the M16 or AEK really don't bring much to the table to compete in terms of being viable assault weapons. And there's a few reasons for that, and I want to see if we can tweak those guns to make them a more viable option in certain situations, and then maybe tweak the more popular weapons to make them less viable in all situations. And I think that could be done. And I mainly wanted to talk about the damage model, and I feel that I like the Battlefield 3 damage model, but it could use a little bit improvement. I certainly like it better than the Bad Company 2 damage model. If anybody remembers Bad Company 2, those weapons were pretty much the rate of fire determined the damage, and I certainly didn't really care for it. If you remember it, it was basically a higher rate of fire weapons did a lower damage than the lower rate of fire weapons, which did a lot more damage, and I feel that that type of damage balance model punished certain groups of weapon users over others, and I don't feel it was quite fair, or there was no authenticity, not much realism with that. So I certainly liked it when we transitioned to Battlefield 3 and things were changed. I think it was a lot better set up with Battlefield 3 using the bullet caliber damage model, basically. Pretty much all the weapons do the same damage, min and max damage, based on the caliber, with only a few exceptions based on that rounds that certain weapon was firing. For example, like the Scar H in the Engineer class and the G3A3 within the Assault class. But I thought we can keep the basic damage model the same in Battlefield 3, but I feel there's one area that could be tweaked big time between high rate of fire weapons and low rate of fire weapons. And I think that that area that could be tweaked is certainly the damage model drop-off. I think if you made them different based on the rate of fire, I certainly think that each weapon becomes more situational. The high rate of fire weapons, the low rate of fire weapons, and so on and so forth. You know, as it stands right now, every weapon at 20 meters or closer in the Assault class in Battlefield 3, you know, with the exception of the G3A3, does 25 max damage. And then out to 50 meters, it gets to its lowest drop-off point, which is 18.4. Well, my proposal is basically to, for lower rate of fire weapons, extend that damage drop-off. And for higher rate of fire weapons, pull that damage drop-off in. And I think 30 meters and 60 meters could be the two extremes, in my opinion. Now, for example, if we were to take, like, say, the three statistically identical weapons within the Assault class, basically the L85A2, the AK-74M, and the Scar L, if you get on Synthic and look at these guns, they're damn near identical statistically. Very, very minor differences between those three weapons. And I certainly think if you were to extend that damage drop-off to, say, instead of 50 meters, which all the assault rifles have a damage drop-off of, extend it to 60. And then you take the three high rate of fire weapons that are used quite a bit, like the M16A3, the M416, and the AEK. You take that damage drop-off at 18.4 at 50 meters and pull it into 30 meters. And that way, each weapon, regardless of rate of fire, becomes more situational. And the lower rate of fire weapons, like the AK-74M, the Scar L, and the L85A2, they tend to have lower recoil patterns, especially vertical and horizontal recoil, whereas it's quite the opposite for the higher rate of fire weapons. And I certainly think it could make each weapon more viable in their respective environments. So yes, you would, in a close-in infantry-based map, like a Grand Bazaar or an Operation Metro or even a Sen Crossing, you would take an AEK, an M416, or even an M16A3. But you shouldn't be able to take those weapons and be super effective onto, say, like Karg Island Conquest Large or Bandar Desert Conquest Large. It should be a much more viable option to take, like, say, a Scar L or an L85A2, excuse me, and an AK-74M. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what about the heavy barrel attachment? Those already alter the drop-off patterns, and same with the suppressor. The suppressor alters the drop-off patterns as well. Well, I think you keep the suppressor in. It seems like we're going to have two different types of suppressors come Battlefield 4 from what we've seen so far, but my proposal would be to remove the heavy barrel from the game. Now, hear me out. The main reason is because in real-life military, all assault rifles come with a heavy barrel standard. It's not some aftermarket attachment that you put on by the user, unless you're in the civilian enthusiast model. Military weapons come standard from the factory with a heavy barrel equipped. They have for nearly 30 years. That's always been a standard for quite some time now, so I really don't think that you should have the heavy barrel as an attachment that the player uses. And I certainly don't like how it can really drastically alter drop-offs, and I think it's the main reason, with the heavy barrel attachment being in the game, I think it's the main reason why all the drop-offs for the weapons are the same, and I'd actually like to see the drop-offs change. I certainly think that it can make each weapon more viable in their respective environments and situations, really based on distance and engagement distance mainly. So, I mean, that's really my proposal. I would certainly love to hear other people's thoughts and opinions. Give me your feedback. What do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? Do you have a better proposal? I'm all ears. But I understand that it is hard in a game like Battlefield that has, multiple classes with multiple amounts of weapons per class and multiple attachments per weapon per class. So a lot of this balancing is quite difficult. But as always, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I really appreciate you watching it. And as always, appreciate you supporting me, and take care.